Hello, welcome back to Spellbound. I'm BEEJ and this is my holiday TBR. Starting with The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. This is a Christmas Carol retelling and it sounds really cute. This is about a girl named Holly who was visited by 3 ghosts on Christmas Eve who tried to convince her to change her ways, and she didn't, and then she died. And so now she's stuck working for the top secret company Project Screws as the latest ghost of Christmas past. And so far her afterlife has been miserable, but this year's Scrooge is about to change everything. So this looks adorable. I cannot wait. I could not find this book anywhere, but I was able to find it on Pango. So this is a YA book from 2017. So I'm kind of excited for that. I think I know what to expect as far as tropes and writing style from 2017 YA. So I'm kind of feeling nostalgic already about the reading experience of this book. Now, additionally, every single year I always try to read a Nutcracker retelling. I love the Nutcracker. I have always loved the story of the Nutcracker. I've always loved how dreamlike and romantic it is, and just how very Christmassy of a story it is without it being religious, which was something that was kind of hard to find growing up. And it wasn't until I was an adult and living with my now spouse that I went to see the Nutcracker for the first time. The Orlando Ballet does a Nutcracker. And so it's now our tradition, one of our favorite holiday traditions. We go on opening night every year, and it's just one of my favorite moments of the season. So I love a Nutcracker retelling, and I'm very picky, very. In fact, the only Nutcracker retelling that I've liked enough to keep on my shelf is Midnight in Everwood. For it to be a Nutcracker retelling, you're going to expect it to be very dreamlike. It's obviously going to be very into magical realism, but also I want it to have a point of view and I want it to have a point. And so some of them that I've read have been have had very good points of view, have had really unique takes on them, and then they just didn't, the execution wasn't there, whatever. Like last year I read A Kingdom of Sweets. Yeah, I read that in November, and it was so close to being awesome. It had the coolest premise ever. I mean, it was really going hard into socialism. It was going hard into working class rights. I mean, the undertones of this book were so awesome. And also it was a horror book. It really took a horror spin on the Nutcracker, and that idea of this is fairy, right? This is the fairy realm. And so if everything that you see, the sugar plums, the fairies dancing and all of that stuff, if actually it's rotten, what does that look like? And it was very grotesque, and I just really loved the imagery. I loved the fae-like atmosphere, and in the real world, the underpinnings of real revolution, people-led revolution. And then it felt like it was going to go in one direction, and I was going to be like, damn, this is the best Nutcracker retelling I've ever seen. And then it felt like in an edit cycle or something, the author rewrote it and changed directions and kind of backed off from the kind of awesome point that she was making. So I did not like that, and ultimately I unhauled it, and so RIP to that, but it could have been really wonderful. So this year's Nutcracker retelling is called The Palace of Illusions. Illusions? Good Lord. This is called The Palace of Illusions by Rowena Miller. It says, the magic of Paris has never felt so real. New technologies and inventions hold Paris spellbound at the dawn of the 20th century, but innovation is not without cost, and the true magic of the City of Lights is about to be revealed. So this is awesome. You've got the 1900s World Fair in Paris. And so it's kind of awesome because it's also giving a obviously turn of the century feel to it, kind of Victorian, and it's set in a different time. It's set in a different place than where it typically is. The story is set actually in Russia. Clara Ironwood is a talented and pragmatic clockmaker. Nothing compares, of course, to the magic of her grandfather's mechanical toys, and she spends her days working on the Palace of Illusions, an intricate hall of mirrors that is the centerpiece of the 1900s World Fair. However, when a strange gift from her godfather unlocks a mirror world, Paris, where the scene is musical and mechanical ballerinas move with human grace, Clara realizes the magic of her grandfather's toys is real. But then she soon discovers the dark side to innovation. Suspicious men approach her at work, and she could swear a shadow is following her. So the magic of the two Parises are colliding, and Clara must find the strength within herself to save them both. I'm interested. It is an investment, but this will be read in December. To balance that out, we have a cute little novella, which looks like an easy pick-me-up. It's called The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. It's a spectacularly spine-chilling story of an American student spending the holidays in a British manor house where she discovers dangerous secrets and a grim history hidden behind a seemingly charming Christmas celebration. I literally don't want to read anything else other than that. It feels like the inside of the dust jacket will just tell you pages 1 through 45 out of this, 96 page book. So yeah, this is going to be nothing at all, and I just want to go into this as close to blind as I can because it looks cute and also like a bit of a mystery, you know? So the back of it is like an ingenious puzzle, Hitchcockian chills and thrills abound. Engagingly original, Swanson has a bent for revenge and murder. Like, all of these are my favorite words. So yeah, looking forward to this one. Obviously, we have to throw in a rom-com in here, and this is by Ashley Herring Blake. I had no idea that she had written another book, let alone a Christmas book or a holiday book, we'll say. So this is Make the Season Bright, and even though it looks like it's about exes, so this might be like a second chance romance situation, which is absolutely not my favorite. If people break up, it is for a reason. You don't need to go revisit those. Like, to me, that's literally just reversing on like breaking cycles and patterns of behavior. Like, if two people separate, there is a reason for it. So I usually don't champion second chance romances. However, I really do like Ashley Herring Blake's writing, and I like her characters, and I love how women forward they are. That there's like no men in these books most of the time because they're sapphic relationships, but even the female friendships in these books, like, it gives practical magic, sisterhood vibes of like really, really women forward. And it's not that the men suck, although usually in these books the men suck. It's just that they're not relevant, and I love that. I love that so much. Recently I started this book, The Toymakers by Robert Dinsdale, and this book has been on my list and on my shelf, in fact, for 4 years at this point. Like, this has been here for a long time. This has been here since I started my YouTube channel. This was one of like 10 books that I had behind my head because I just knew that I was going to like it. So this says the Emporium opens with the first frost of winter. So this is about a magical emporium of toy makers and everything. Young Kathy Ray, running away from a shameful past, she's about to discover that the emporium has secrets of its own. Obviously, you know, it takes place during World War I in London, but it feels like it's going to have lots of not just like holiday vibes, but like holiday in the city, hustle bustle. Also, World War I is happening, and there's going to be, I'm quite sure, some commentary on that, and some commentary on like feminism and what feminism looked like during that time period, because I did already start reading this, so I do have kind of a leg up on like what I'm pretty sure that it's going to be talking about. So it's about this young girl who is pregnant, and her family immediately like shuns her and treats her just awful, and plans to put her in a, not quite like a convent, but like a boarding home where she will not be allowed out for the rest of the duration of her pregnancy until after she has given birth and then gives away her baby. So she runs away in the middle of the night because she sees this like bizarre kind of magical ad in the newspaper for this toy emporium that's opening, and she's like, okay. So, and like room and board is part of it. I really like the vibe of it. I haven't read a historical fiction in a minute, so I'm like really invested, and this is exactly the kind of book that I want to be reading right now. So I'm really looking forward to getting back into this, because I started reading it like a week and a half ago and then just haven't been able to get back to it because of the other projects I've got going on. So yes to this for December. Now, naturally, Christmas is not without horror. In fact, some might say they are synonymous. And so I love this anthology curated by Ellen Datlow. I enjoyed a collection that was edited by Ellen Datlow, I think called Haunted Nights, and that had some really great selections in it. These are all different types of short stories that are about Christmas and or the holidays. And so there's some really great names in here, specifically Josh Malerman, who I'm enjoying recently. So I'm really looking forward to this book of horror short stories all about Christmas. And this one has been on just about every holiday TBR list that I've made in the past couple of years, but I just never can seem to quite get into it because whenever I whenever I include this in a holiday TBR video, I always get comments that are like either, oh my gosh, I love this, you just have to get past like the first 200 pages or something, and it's like, that's a steep ask. Or I'll get people who are like, I absolutely could not get through this book, and it's like, well, that's not a glowing endorsement. So the thing is, I have a love-hate relationship with dreamlike books, and I don't even know if that's entirely true. I don't know if it's a love-hate relationship. I think I'm just extraordinarily picky when it comes to dreamlike books and purple prose. Most of the time, I don't like them. However, there are some times where it just works. I think like The Night Circus is a really good example. I really did love The Night Circus, but I think that's because the plot, that like the structure around the dreamlike purple prose of it all was quite intriguing. And I think that's got to be a key. You know, if it's just poetic or lyrical writing and it's dreamlike, I'm like, but what actually is going on here? And I don't have a lot of patience for that. So like one example is like Nocturne, which was a book that I read last year in the winter time. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful book, but I was like, this is just too damn near poetry for me to figure out what's actually going on. Why is it so purple? Why is it so dreamlike? Yeah, I couldn't get there, but it's beautiful, and I highly recommend it to people who like beautiful things. That sounded weird. To people who like beautiful writing or purple prose, yada yada. Nocturne, I was just talking to Bestie Caitlin about it last week. It's like Phantom of the Opera meets the Nutcracker meets Swan Lake meets the winter time. Like, I mean, it's very ballet, opera house, boarding school, snowy city streets kind of vibes, and it's gorgeous. But yeah, you have to want it. And so this book makes me intimidated and also concerned because I just don't know if I'm going to like it in the end. BEEJ, what the fuck is it about? Thank you for asking. I still don't know. And that's the problem, is that every time that I read this book, every time that I read the back of this book, I'm like, I still don't know what this book is about, and I still don't know. And the thing is, people who comment on it are like, that's kind of the point of the book, is that, like, even the commenters are like, I don't really know how to describe to you what this book is about. Yep. Like this one says, welcome to the Winter Garden, open only at 13 o'clock. I love that. What's it about? You know, on the night her mother dies, 8-year-old Beatrice receives an invitation to the mysterious Winter Garden, a place of wonder and magic filled with all manner of strange and sublime flora and fauna. The garden is her solace every night for 7 days, but when the garden disappears and no one believes her story, Beatrice is left to wonder if it was really real. 18 years later, on the eve of her wedding to a man her late father approved of but she does not love, Beatrice makes the decision to throw off the expectations of Victorian English society and search for the garden. But when both she and her closest friend Rosa receive invitations to compete to create spectacular pleasure gardens, with the prize being one life-changing wish, she realizes she may be closer to finding it than she ever imagined. Now all she has to do is win. That sounds like 3 different plots in one. What is happening here? What's happening? Why did we only just meet the second main character in like the very bottom of this description of this book? What's a pleasure garden? And if that was part of it, why don't we hear about it up here when she's like, she went to this mysterious place, sort of like these pleasure gardens that exist. I don't understand. I don't understand, and I don't know. It's truly a mystery. Am I going to love this book, or am I going to hate this book and hate the investment that I put into this book? You know? So there you go. Those were 7 books on my holiday TBR, and maybe they'll make it onto your holiday TBR. So what are you reading this December? What are you looking forward to? Are there any fun? There are so many rom-coms that I'm seeing, like so many holiday rom-coms, and they're all by this guy named like Cody. He has a name that starts with a C, like Cody Ball or something, Cody Hall. I don't know. But that person is writing all of the holiday romances, all of them. And so if you've read any of them by that author, please let me know. Are they any good? Most of the time I hate holiday rom-coms, to be honest. The only ones I've ever liked are by Tessa Bailey because I have a like deep bias towards her books in general. So what do you think? Are there any good holiday rom-coms that I should pick up, and why? Yeah, let me know. Let me know what you're reading. I just want you to talk at me about books because that's just my favorite thing ever. So take care, stay safe this holiday season, never stop fighting fascism, and happy reading.